Hi guys. Very good evening. I'm in front of you. This is one of my offline batch photo. And when I was seeing this batch, I was actually selecting हाँ इसका qualify हो गया, इसका हो गया, इसका हो गया. तो ऐसे देख रहा था. But yes, it's a batch, one of the old batch. So old memory, old batch, and I had a photograph of this thing. But we are going to deal with the important topics today. आपके लिए सारे topics आज arrange कर दिए हैं. These are the topics. विक्टोरियन एज में फास्टेस्ट रिवीजन करना है और फास्टेस्ट रिवीजन में वी हैव टू सी व्हाट ऑल वी हैव डन. Victorian age is comparatively bigger age than any other age. Chaucer's age very small, Anglo-Saxon very small, Elizabethan big age, Restoration very small, Augustan only 6 to 7 writers. But then when we go for pre-romantic age, big age, Romantics half, Victorians, real big age, because we have big writers. Even the poets are big, novelists are big, and the thinkers are big. So that's the reason most of the students strategically make a mistake because they put a lot of effort in Anglo-Saxon, Chaucer, then Dark Age, then Elizabethan, then the Restoration, Augustans, pre-romantics, and all. So a lot of energy that you already have invested. बहुत सारा समय आपने पहले लगा दिए. And when you reach till Victorians, you are almost tired. Just like long race. So you already have put a lot of effort and given a lot of energy, and then you're like tired. So this happens. When you reach to Victorians, you find out that they are so unending. Robert Browning alone has a 30 plus important poetries. 30 plus important poetries. Tennyson, 10 plus important works, which are really very important, 10 plus. Then we have pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood, Oxford Poetry Movement. We have Matthew Arnold, 10 plus important work. Lady Browning, Elizabeth Barrett Browning. And apart from all these writers, some other minor writers. And once you are done with this, you enter in Victorian novels. And who doesn't know that even Dickens, Hardy, Bronte sisters, George Eliot, Anthony Trollope, or some other writers, Maria Ainsworth, everybody has written 15 to 20 novels, except some Bronte sisters. In short, even in Dickens and Hardy, you have to read 8 to 10 great books. Now, Tiger is here. Tiger, come on, go. Let me teach. So, as the screen is clear, please remember some unseen facts. The first thing, एक तो यही याद रख लेना कि डेट क्या है, otherwise you'll miss it. 1837-1901, Queen Victoria became the queen, so we call it Victorian age. So first of all, I know you will say, sir, this is basic, but yes, this one. 1876. How many of you know that? That in 1876, Queen Victoria actually became the Queen of India. I teach this thing in my offline classes in detail, in online classes in detail. 1876 is the date when Queen Victoria officially becomes the Queen of India. Queen Victoria officially becomes the Queen of India. How? The abolishment of East India Company. The abolishment of East India Company, and then Queen Victoria takes complete control in her hands and becomes the Empress of India. The title she takes is Kesare Hind, the only woman to have this title. Kesare Hind, the Queen of India, the Empress of India, 1876. So East India Company's demolition, abolishment, that comes in 1876, and Britain directly takes the control of India. So 1876 East India Company, very important, don't forget that point. ये पॉइंट नहीं भूलना. अब चलते हैं सबसे ज्यादा पूछे जाने वाला क्वेश्चन फ्रॉम विक्टोरियंस, विच इज डेट ओरिएंटेड. Most of the students must be knowing this thing. There is a question in net exam, and let's erase this one also so that I'll have board for you. Remember, there is a question. 1848. The question was the designer of Crystal Palace. The designer of Crystal Palace. You know, when I was preparing for net exam, my preparation, my first exam, I got shocked. मैं चौंक गया. मैंने कहा, instead of asking writers, characters, poets, they are asking designers. अब designer पढ़ने पड़ेंगे. Am I supposed to read designers? Am I really supposed to read designers for my literature preparation? This was the question. The designer of Crystal Palace. So you have to remember this thing here. Joseph Paxton. Joseph Paxton was the designer. So just I'll rub it. The designer of Crystal Palace, Joseph Paxton. This was the answer. ये आंसर था Joseph Paxton. Let's write it clean. Because I'm habitual of writing with marker on the board, so sometimes I do some mistakes here. Joseph Paxton was the designer of Crystal Palace, but the Crystal Palace question was not because it was just a building. Crystal Palace was first ever built mall. लंदन का सबसे बड़ा एरिया लंदन के बाहर था. It was the biggest mall, and then that mall was actually made, constructed for the Great Exhibition, 1851's Great Exhibition. So Joseph Paxton Crystal Palace is connected to the Great Exhibition of 1851. The Great Exhibition of 1851, which was a direct show of English rule, a superiority, that the English people are the rulers of the world. A kind of show off. So don't forget 1851. Don't forget 1851, the Great Exhibition and the connection of Crystal Palace. Then 90% students don't know this thing. Have you ever wondered this thing, that why when they talk about black and white issue, Negroes, white people, black and white, color segregation, racism, why it's always America? Why it's only America whenever they talk about racism? कभी सोचा, have you ever thought like this? Africans living in America, then Jim Crow law, these kind of tortures. Even the American president Abraham Lincoln talked to the lady Harriet Beecher Stowe and said, so you are the little lady who started the Great War. Harriet Beecher Stowe has written Uncle Tom's Cabin, which is a world classic. Who are Americans? If you see and you know and you have read Americans, and if you're from online offline batch and you remember my lectures, I taught you this thing that even in America, if you remember my lectures, even in America, the colonizers were there and the famous Father Raleigh's War took place. England and France were trying to take control of America. So Father Raleigh's War is related to American colonization. Do you know that even America was a colonized thing? It was a colony. So in America also, the English people were living. They established their colonies called New England. So when English people were living in America, why America has slavery and other things, color issues and all, but not England? In 1834, please remember this thing, England officially abolishes slavery. England ने slavery को मना कर दिया. Slavery was abolished in England. So please remember, this is the reason that when you study racism after 1834, you don't find any issue in England. You find issues in America. Because the English people who got settled in USA, they continued with the slavery thing. So make sure you remember that 1834, abolishment of slavery in England. Do you know this is the way they ask questions? They trick you. Trick karte hain wo. If you remember, now I'm going to ask you a question. I'm sure you're going to get confused. Herman Melville, famous work, Moby Dick, 1851. Herman Melville, Moby Dick, 1851. When it was published, it had two subtitles. The Whale, The White Whale. Another subtitle, The White Whale. The Whale and the White Whale. Now tell me this, The Whale and the White Whale, what is the difference of the subtitle? The Whale and the White Whale, the same thing. When it was published in England, England has no issues. England had no issues at that time. 1851, 1834, abolishment of slavery. England had no issues with word white and black. When you are dealing with Africans, you are in America and you have black and white issues. So when you use the subtitle white, black, they have symbolic meanings. In India, we have a lot of racism. If somebody is fat, we do body shaming. If somebody has different color, we call Kallu, Kalia, right? Amitabh Bachchan ki movie ka naam hai Kalia. But in England when the book was published, so abolishment of slavery and color issue was already done. So it was published with the name The White Whale. But in America, it was not published with the reference The White Whale because there was issue, there was trouble. So the black community wouldn't have liked that. That's the reason that the Moby Dick has two subtitles. Did you know that earlier? क्या ये आपको पहले पता था? If you did not know that, like button is in front of you. Knowledge के लिए like करना, like the video for knowledge purpose because now you will never forget this point. Now some other important things related to Victorian age. Some important female character. Bathsheba Everdeen. One of the most important female character. Sissy Jupes. Little Nell, or you can write the complete name, Nell Trent. Then, I'm sure you know the names. Bathsheba Everdeen, Thomas Hardy, Far from the Madding Crowd. Bathsheba Everdeen, famous lead character. Thomas Hardy's Far from the Madding Crowd. Sissy Jupes, famous female character from Hard Times. Charles Dickens' Hard Times. Remember, Mr. Gradgrind questions what is a horse. So she tries to talk about horse, but then he says, no, I want the definition of horse. Then Little Nell from Old Curiosity Shop. So don't forget these names. These female characters are leading female characters. Then the villain character Arabella Dawn. Arabella Dawn and Tess the Arborwiles. So I'm sure you know the name of the Tess. Tess the Arborwiles is from the same book. Arabella Dawn and another female character, Sue Bridehead, come from Jude the Obscure. These two characters, Arabella Dawn and Sue Bridehead, they come from Jude the Obscure. Most important work, पढ़ लेना ये बहुत important है. Then comes some other important female characters. Some other important female characters. They have asked questions. That's why I'm telling you female characters. Victorians are known for female characters. Otherwise, normally people talk about heroes. Normally लोग बोलेंगे hero कौन है? Hero बताओ. But Victorians are known for their strong female characters. The next one we have is Rebecca. Rebecca Sharp, famously called Becky. Famously called Becky. Another character, same book, Amelia Sedley. Please don't forget these names. ये नाम मत भूल जाना because now we have other important characters, strong characters. Both of them from Vanity Fair. Both of these characters are from Vanity Fair, written by W.M. Thackeray, born in Calcutta. कलकत्ता born है ये भी याद रखना. W.M. Thackeray born in Calcutta. Now, going for the another important female character. 1847 का publication है Vanity Fair. Please remember that. The another important character comes from Jane Eyre and her best friend Helen Burns. She has been asked in exam. Helen Burns is the foil character. She plays the role of the foil character. Let me see how many of you are live. Foil character is somebody who is just opposite. 134 students are live. That's great. Foil characters are somebody who is just opposite. So, for example, if you have to highlight this person, then another friend should be just opposite. She is strong, so she is just weak. Please remember the questions have been asked. The just opposite character is called foil. Hero or heroine or protagonist has some characters who are just opposite. That is foil character. Helen Burns has been asked. The question was, who plays the foil character in Jane Eyre? Helen Burns. But now comes the most important thing from Jane Eyre. The most important female character, Bertha Mason. Bertha Mason. In the latest studies, top university, Delhi University, JNU and other things, now they are dealing with Bertha Mason. They are teaching Bertha Mason. They are talking about Bertha Mason as mad woman in attic. In fact, there is a proper study on this character. बकायदा study किया गया है. There are writers like Sandra Gilbert, Susan Gubar. These female critics have done a study. Collectively, they have written The Mad Woman in Ethics, that is the study of Bertha Mason. Now, do you know Bertha Mason is also connected to Caribbean literature? Bertha Mason is also connected to Caribbean literature. If you have watched my Caribbean literature video, my video of Caribbean literature was shot in Goa. If you have not watched that, Bertha Mason in Caribbean literature becomes the subject of Jean Rhys' famous work, Wide Sargasso Sea. Wide Sargasso Sea. If you did not know that, then trust me, you're not prepared for exam. See, ये सब आना चाहिए. I have taught in University of Delhi. 10 बार नेट किया है तो I know ये बहुत जरूरी है. And you know what? How they will trick you? They'll simply say that Jean Rhys, White Sargasso Sea. What is the real name of Bertha Mason? Bertha Mason is a name given to that Caribbean girl by the white man Mr. Rochester. So they say that Bertha Mason is not the real name. The real name is something something starting with letter A and another name is starting with letter S. This is your homework. Write in comments. जिसको knowledge है comments में बताना. Bertha Mason का नाम A से start होता है और दूसरा word S से start होता है. Edinburgh Review. इसका editor है Francis Jeffrey. Francis Jeffrey, father of modern reviewers. Francis Jeffrey. Edinburgh Review, first editor Francis Jeffrey, called father of modern reviewers. Then Political Register, another important review. Please remember, they will ask you to set them in time. Then Examiner, इसका timing याद कर लो. Primarily, ये याद करना है. Second one, third one, fourth one. Quarterly Review, 1809. बहुत important works and they have just, these works are really very, very important. They are either behind the death of Keats, or they have satirized others, they have, attacked the romantic writers. So these works are very, very important. Quarterly Review personally attacked John Keats a lot. Examiner Leigh Hunt was working. So make sure remember that. Then the Blackwood magazine, this also attacked romantic poets. Keats को बहुत attack किया था उन्होंने. Then London magazine, and after that Westminster Review, Punch magazine. Do you know the magazine Punch? First time the word cartoon was coined here. As this is exam time capsule content, that's the reason I'm not giving you the details of these videos. Normally we teach the details of these things. अभी समय नहीं है, कम समय में ज्यादा करना है, right? गागर में सागर भरना है in Hindi. So please remember the word cartoon has been coined in the magazine Punch. यहाँ पे coin हुआ था. Now this is very important. And if you did not know that, like button तुम्हारे सामने है, like कर देना. और कुछ नहीं मांग रहा हूँ, not asking anything else. Just like that. Because if you did not know that the word cartoon has been coined in Punch magazine, then it's a knowledge for you. And you must be thankful to get knowledge. Now, guys, the magazine Germ. Please remember, the magazine Germ is the magazine of Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood. The Pre-Raphaelite magazine. So it can be a very good question. See, the timing is 1848 to 1850. So you can write like this. Germ magazines, Pre-Raphaelite magazine, the Germ. Remember Daisy Rossetti, William Rossetti, Christina Rossetti, Thomas Woolner, William Collinson, William Holman Hunt, A.C. Swinburne, William Morris. Did I miss someone? I must have missed someone. Thomas Woolner. Okay, now, please, bhulna nahi. I'm not going to attempt the exam this time. That's why I'm more excited that at least you guys have to just rock the exam. The Dial magazine, though it is not directly Victorian, but the Dial magazine is connected to American Romantic Philosophical Movement, Transcendentalism. Remember R.W. Emerson? R.W. Emerson, H.D. Thoreau, his famous work Walden, Life in Words. So please remember that. And then comes the last magazine. The last magazine, because this is the border magazine, ending of Victorians and moderns. The name of the magazine is Blast. One famous writer was there, Wyndham Lewis. The main writer who was connected to this was Wyndham Lewis. Did a lot of articles, commentaries on World War One, the Blast magazine. ये सब याद कर लो, वारे न्यारे हो जाएंगे, बहुत काम आएगा. And as I've talked about these magazines, so I'll tell you this. There's another magazine, Vasafiri. Now please remember, Vasafiri is not a Victorian magazine. This magazine deals with post-colonial studies. This magazine deals with post-colonial things. So please remember, and this has been asked many years back. Just one question, 2014 and 15. How do I know? Because even I didn't know that. I was solving papers, PYQs, so I found this. That's why I remember that. Vasafiri is a post-colonial magazine. Then the other magazine they have asked is the Southern Review. The Southern Review and the Kenyan Review. These both magazines are connected to literary theory. These magazines are connected to literary theory. These two magazines are connected to literary theory. Please remember this thing. And once you are done with these things, then the last magazine of this group is Ratta Mardo Ratta. You will be the JRF, last capsule content. The last magazine is Fugitive. The magazine Fugitive. Fugitive magazine was dealing with the writers of new criticism. Primarily, these writers are also called Southern agrarians. The writers of America of dealing with new criticism, also called Southern agrarians. So their magazine was Fugitive. They are also called fugitives. These writers are called fugitives. J.C. Ransom and others. So make sure you remember these. This is also connected to lit theory. Now, let's go for the next point. These are some reform acts. Students, start reading writers. Let's study Victorians. Okay, who is the first writer? No, when you study Victorians, don't go to the first writer. Understand what is Victorians. Who is the king? Who is the queen? What's happening? What was society? What are the changes? Here we have to go for the most important questions. First thing. This is really very important because the first ever Reform Act, voting rights, it gave voting rights to rich people. People with land, people with their own house got voting rights. Democratic सुधार हुए. उन्होंने बोला कि हम आपको voting rights देंगे, अब आप भी वोट दे सकते हो, आज से आपका सबका साथ सबका विकास. But हुआ क्या? Voting rights for whom? People with land, people with house, means rich people. What about the migrants? What about the working class people or the poor people? So, first Reform Act was dealing with voting rights. 1834, then it was given to people who are working and have a salary. But no women. Women ko nahi mila. Women they were not talking about. Then some more reformation that, okay, fine, let's give voting rights, secret ballot system, electoral bonds and all. These things were given in 1837. इन्होंने कहा कि voting करेंगे and धीरे धीरे, like earlier the farmers were not allowed, then the farmers got allowed, then the labor class got allowed. These kind of reforms were taking place, and then this comes. I can bet 99% people don't know this. This was a protest by people. It was actually a protest, the mass protest. They said, you are coming with 1832 reform, 1834 reform, 1837 Chartism. We want reform. We will tell you what to do. It was a massive protest. That is the reason it is called People's Charter. Paper में question आएगा, what is People's Charter and what is the time? People protested to get more and more rights. Once again, nobody protested to get rights for women. Female voting rights would be given by this after the suffrage movement. Now, another important point that you have to remember is Newgate novels. Newgate novels is a kind of new genre in Victorians. It was dealing with crime or the kind of, a Robin Hood image. What is Robin Hood image? People who loot the rich people and share with the poor people. Newgate was name of the prison. It is the name of the prison. Jail का नाम है. See, this is how I teach. When I teach everything. Jail का नाम है. Newgate novels were dealing with the crime stories, the real crime stories, and they were celebrating the convicts. They were celebrating those criminals. They were saying that the criminals are not criminals, they are heroes, or the criminals became criminals because of their conditions. In short, glamorizing the crime. Your Bollywood movie Race 1, Race 2, Race 3, Dhoom 1, Dhoom 2, Dhoom 3. Who are these people? They are all criminals. Even if they had a bad life, but if they are looting people, killing people, cheating people, they are criminals, but they are glamorized criminals. Newgate novels were glamorized, and the famous writer of this particular group is Edward Bulwer Lytton. Edward Bulwer Lytton, the famous writer of this Newgate novel group, Edward Bulwer Lytton. Famous works: Eugene Aram and Paul Clifford. Just mug them. Paul Clifford's opening line is one of the world's best opening line. The opening line of Paul Clifford. Again your homework, because I have taught this in online and offline. Paul Clifford का opening line बताओ, comment में लिखो. Who are the other writers? Charles Dickens' famous work where the pickpockets are there. These pickpockets, where we have Fagin, we have Artful Dodger, or Oliver Twist. That is also the part of crime fiction, Newgate novel. Then any book where we have murder stories or something like that. Daniel D. Ronda, where we have a killer, a murderer, and Hetty Sorrell. That is also a kind of important thing. Please remember the name of the girl, Hetty Sorrell. Net में question है, Hetty Sorrell का नाम मत भूल जाना, Hetty Sorrell. That's the important question in net exam. Net में कहीं से कुछ भी आ सकता है. Please remember that. Don't forget Hetty Sorrell, the child murderer. She is the child murderer. Ratta maro. As I had to save the time, we were too fast. Newgate novels we have done. Then let's go for Pulitzer novels. Pulitzer novels. Novels dealing with politics. If you did not know that and your heart says that, wow, I'm learning something, feel free to like the button, like the video. Pulitzer novels, politics, dealing with politics. Famous writer or the father of Pulitzer novels in Victorian is Anthony Trollope. Anthony Trollope. He has written 47 plus novels. The Postmaster, the Prime Minister, then Barces Tower series. He is famous writer for Pulitzer novels. Then comes, you have taken the screenshots. Let's go. Factory novels. That's why I tell my online offline students, nobody is going to compete you. People won't know these things. Famous writer, Mrs. Elizabeth Gaskell. Mrs. Elizabeth Gaskell. Famous work, North and South. और बहुत सारे. Mary Barton है, famous work, Mary Barton. Then और बहुत सारे, Wives and Daughters. They're all factory novels dealing with factory issues, labor owner love issues, clash between the two different classes. All these things are there. If you are learning something, don't forget to like the video. Now, see, many of you want to learn good quality things. आप में से बहुत सारे लोगों को पढ़ने का बहुत मन है, दिल्ली नहीं आ सकते, या आप उड़ीसा से हैं, वेस्ट बंगाल से हैं, तमिलनाडु से हैं. You are not able to come to Delhi, but you want those high lectures, high level lectures. You know, knowing literature and understanding literature are two different things. You can mug up, you can qualify, but to have proper knowledge If you really want to learn, if you really want to have knowledge on your tips, if you want to teach without taking any kind of help, then I suggest you to go for offline video lectures now made available at home. We used to get these kind of requests again and again. So, is it possible? Can I get your offline lecture? Can we get your all the videos at home? And I used to say, sorry, not possible. But परिवर्तन संसार का नियम है, change is eternal. We are also evolving. So after having multiple meetings and then focusing on the proper course, we have prepared complete offline batch video course. What did we do? What is new? We just recorded all our offline videos, applied a lot of gadgets where you can take live offline video classes. जैसे क्लासेस स्टार्ट होंगी, you can set live 3-hour class, 4-hour classes live, and it will always be with you. It will not be deleted. In short, we have launched pen drive course. What to do to get this pen drive course? It's just simple. WhatsApp me on 88102 88102 89637. It's been 3 days I'm talking about this. 400 plus students have already registered. In fact, we have started replying students that okay, your number is registered, we will get back to you. So please register yourself if you want to go for complete pen drive course. No need to come to Delhi, no need to spend a lot of money in hostels, no need to take risk, no need to come to the polluted city. Pen drive course, offline batch, and you will get everything that these people are getting. If I'm cracking jokes, you will get that. If I'm motivating, you will get that. If I'm taking references of Sanskrit, Hindi, if I'm taking mythological references, if I'm talking about political things, each and everything, you will have the feel that you are in my class. So to get these things, as I told you, just WhatsApp us on 88102 89637. I believe my number was quite visible here. See you all. Thank you so much. Stay tuned. Subscribe the channel for my next video. Now we are going to deal with some other important topics. I'll be coming with the video till the exam. I'll keep coming with updates. I'll keep helping you. I'm not going to attempt this exam. I'm already qualified for 10 times. I'm taking break this time. So if I'm taking break, it is my duty that if I'm sitting at home, I'm free, I can come with 5 lectures, 7 lectures in a day. So both in private also, both free lectures. This is a free lecture for all of you. So it's a free lecture. I deserve your likes. Thank you so much. May God bless you. Have a great night.